There's a fine line between free speech and reckless chaos. And today, that line is drawn in fire. The sky over Washington is heavy, gray, restless. Rain taps against the roofs of idling black SUVs. Across the sidewalk, the press waits, cameras raised, hushed voices cutting through the morning chill. They are not here for just another hearing. They know something big is coming. Inside, the air is thick, not just with humidity, but with something sharper. Anticipation. The weight of what is about to unfold. The door opens, and Pam Bondi steps in. Not rushed, not hesitant. She moves like she owns the oxygen in the room, like every inch of space bends to her presence. A crisp suit, a steel gaze, a posture that tells the world she is not here for games. And then a shift, a late arrival, dark sunglasses, a slow, deliberate walk. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett enters, chin lifted, carrying the kind of defiance that says she is not afraid of the storm brewing in this room. But storms do not care who fears them. What happens when a politician's words become gasoline in a nation full of kindling? The gavel strikes once. A sharp, crisp sound that cuts through the low murmur of the chamber. Pam Bondi does not lean forward. She does not clear her throat or wait for silence. She simply speaks, voice steady, eyes locked on the woman across from her. This is not about opinion. This is about responsibility. The room shifts. A ripple, almost invisible, but there. A pause. A hesitation. Somewhere in the back, a journalist tightens their grip on a pen. The cameras are already rolling. A screen flickers to life behind Bondi. The image is grainy, pulled from a security feed. A storefront, flames licking at the shattered glass. Figures moving in the dark, faces covered, hands gripping spray cans and bricks. The words scrawled across the burning wall are unmistakable. Take him down. A second clip plays. This time daylight. A crowd outside a government building. Fists raised, voices shouting. The same phrase appears again, this time on a protest sign, held high above the heads of an angry mob. Then, a newspaper headline flashes across the screen. Violence erupts after politicians' remarks. The weight of the evidence presses into the room like a held breath. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett shifts in her seat. She does not flinch, but her fingers graze the microphone, adjusting it slightly. Then she exhales, shakes her head, and leans in. Her voice is smooth, but there is an edge beneath it. When I said take him down, I meant legally. Bondi does not react right away. Instead, she lets the words sit there, lets them hover in the air for just a moment too long. Then, slowly, she tilts her head, voice calm, deliberate. Tell me, Congresswoman, do Molotov cocktails come with legal disclaimers? A hush falls, the kind that makes the air feel heavier. Crockett scoffs, shifting back in her chair, but before she can respond, another voice enters the conversation. It is not a politician. It is not a journalist. It is a man in a dark suit, sleeves slightly wrinkled, eyes weary. He does not speak like someone who enjoys being here. He speaks like someone who has no choice. I watched my store burn, he says, voice low but steady, because someone thought they were following your symbolic words. Silence. Not the kind that comes from politeness, but the kind that carries weight, the kind that lingers. Crockett looks at him now. She blinks just once. Then, she shakes her head, lips pressing into a thin line. That is not on me, she says. I cannot control what people choose to do. Bondi leans in just slightly, eyes narrowing. But you can control what you say. The man does not nod. He does not agree or disagree. He just stands there waiting. His store is gone. His livelihood is gone. And now, the only thing left is a question. Where does responsibility begin? And where does it end? The screen changes again. Another image. Another reminder that words do not just fade into the air. A car, or what is left of one. The metal is twisted, burned black, melted in places where the fire had burned too hot for too long. The side of the wreckage is marked with red spray paint. 2 words. Take him down. Pam Bondi does not react. She does not need to. The room is reacting for her. Shifting seats. Lowered voices. Journalists scribbling faster. She lets the silence stretch, lets the image do its job. Then, She clicks the next slide. A video, grainy, taken from a security camera. A figure, masked, moving quickly. A glass bottle in one hand. A lighter in the other. The flame catches. The bottle arcs through the air. An explosion of fire swallows the screen. A business. A home. Someone's car. It does not matter. It all burns the same. Pam Bondi turns back to the microphone, her voice steady. Was this a direct order, Congresswoman? Or just reckless influence? Jasmine Crockett shifts in her seat, her fingers pressing into the desk. Then she laughs, a small breath of disbelief, shaking her head as if the whole thing is ridiculous. Oh, so now words are crimes. Bondi does not blink. Congresswoman, when words light the match, they are no longer just words. The hearing room is silent again, except for the quiet clicks of camera shutters, capturing the moment. Crockett leans forward, her voice sharper now. I was not calling for violence. That is a stretch, and you know it. Bondi tilts her head slightly, considering the statement like a lawyer picking apart a witness on the stand. Is that so? She says, tapping her pen against the desk. Then maybe you can explain why, after your remarks, we saw a rise in targeted attacks. Maybe you can explain why people felt justified in turning your words into firebombs. Crockett exhales, frustrated now. I cannot control what people do. Bondi nods slowly, as if she was expecting that response. But you can control what you say. The weight of that statement lingers, but Bondi is not done. She motions toward the side of the room. A man stands, older, tired. His uniform is pressed, but his hands are calloused, his posture heavy. A firefighter. He steps forward, adjusting the microphone. The room waits. He does not speak right away. He looks down, gathering himself. Then his voice comes, rough and worn. I do not care about politics, he says. I care about the lives left in the ashes. A pause. I pulled a child from a car that night. He was barely breathing. His mother kept screaming that he was still inside. But by the time we got to him, the smoke had already done its damage. You know what else I saw? His jaw tightens. I saw words like these, painted on walls, on streets, on burned-out buildings. He turns to Crockett. His eyes do not hold anger, just exhaustion. Tell me, Congresswoman, do you really think that child cared about what you meant? The silence in the room is deep, heavy. Crockett presses her lips together. A beat passes, then another, but there is nothing she can say. Pam Bondi flips a page in her folder. The rustling paper is the only sound in the room. She does not rush. She does not need to. The tension is already there, pressing against every wall. She looks up, voice calm, but sharp enough to cut through the silence. There has been a rise in politically motivated crimes, directly linked to social media, directly linked to reckless statements. A chart appears on the screen behind her, a steady increase. The numbers speak for themselves. When you speak recklessly, you do not get to act surprised when the world burns. Jasmine Crockett shifts in her chair, shaking her head. She exhales, voice clipped, frustrated. I clarified my words in a later statement. Bondi does not react right away. Instead, she clicks the next slide. The screen changes. A mugshot. A young man, barely in his 20s. His arrest records. His charges. Arson. Destruction of property. She reads from the report, slow and deliberate. When asked why he did it, the suspect stated. She pauses, then looks straight at Crockett. I was just doing what she said. The words hit like a hammer. Silence. Heavy. Unshakable. Crockett blinks. Her mouth opens slightly, but no words come out. Bondi does not press. She does not need to. The weight of the truth is already settling in. Pam Bondi leans in, elbows on the desk, her voice calm but ice cold. Congresswoman, your words were not just heard. They were followed. The room is silent. Cameras zoom in on Jasmine Crockett's face. The fire in her eyes is dimmed. The confidence, the defiance, it is slipping. Bondi does not press. She does not need to. She lets the weight of the moment settle. Words are free, she says, voice steady, until they cost trust, safety, and lives. Crockett exhales sharply, a forced chuckle escaping her lips. She shakes her head, as if trying to dismiss it all. Are we really doing this over a few words? Bondi does not blink. She does not smile. She delivers the final blow. No, Congresswoman, we are doing this because leadership is not a game. A pause. A beat. And you just lost. The air in the room tightens. Crockett leans back, arms crossed, but the weight of judgment is already on her shoulders. Bondi does not gloat. She does not celebrate. She simply closes her binder. Slow. Precise. Victory does not need to be announced. It is already understood. This was not about politics. This was about accountability. Words have power. They can inspire, unite, and lead. But they can also destroy. When leaders speak, their words do not vanish. They echo. They spread. And sometimes they ignite. So the question is not about intent. It is about impact. What do you think? Should politicians be held accountable for their words? Should they face consequences when their rhetoric fuels real-world chaos? Let your voice be heard. Comment below. Like this video. Subscribe if you believe that leadership is not just about speaking, but taking responsibility for what follows.